Welcome everybody. We're doing this program to talk about innovation in Africa and with a focus on blue economy and opportunities for blue economy for Mauritius and also for Africa. We'll start going around the table with introductions. I'll start on my right. Charlie, can you please introduce yourself and give us a couple of words on what you are doing in Mauritius and Madagascar?
Sure. Good afternoon, good evening, everyone. My name's Dr. Charlie Bavington. I'm an entrepreneur and scientist from Scotland. I'm representing a company called the Thompson Simulator Centre. In particular, we're here showcasing our sustainability software, which is called Sustainiverse, which you'll hear more about later.
Afzaal?
Excellent. I'm Afzaal Mauthour from London, originally Mauritian. I'm innovation strategist at GMF Technology, which is the innovation hub for the wider GMF engineering group, which is a 100-year-old engineering firm in Mauritius.
I'm Danesh Maraye. My company is Beantree. We're finance consultants and helping firms settle in Mauritius and grow in the regions. To my left, I've got Mbai from ACMC, Ivory Coast. Mbai, do you want to introduce yourself?
Thank you, Dan. I am Mbai. I'm very happy to be here. I am acting as the Chief Investment Officer at ACMC. ACMC standing for Africa Capital Market Corporation. And as such, we help support companies and governments in their strategic and financial endeavors. And thank you very much.
And then we have Dr. Daniel Marie, who is heading the Mauritius Oceanographic Institute.
Yeah. Thank you, Dan. My name is Dr. Daniel Marie. I am the director of the MOI, as has just been mentioned. And MOI is a parastatal body falling under the aegis of the Ministry of Agro-Industry, Food Security, Blue Economy and Fisheries.
Thank you. So, Charlie, back to you. Can you tell us a bit more about the work that St. Andrews Innovation does and the work that Thompson, the company that you're working with, is doing currently?
Absolutely. Thanks, Dan. So Thompson Simulator Centre is a company that's a joint venture between St. Andrews Innovation, so that's the commercialization arm of St. Andrews University, and the founder's family business, Deep Tech, which is a salvage technology innovation company. So this joint venture has been going for a few years. It's developing software solutions for sustainability data visualization to allow people to make decisions about projects or commercialization, innovation in the environment, including the blue economy. The company brings in my 25 years of experience in marine biotechnology and the founder, Moya Crawford, a lifetime of experience in marine salvage innovation, and marine technology transfer from universities to companies.
Right. Afzaal, do you want to tell us a bit more about the technologies that you're working on?
Yeah, so at GMF Technology, we've invested heavily in getting access to over 30 top deep tech engineers across the globe. Coupled with GMF Engineering's sustainability engineering and energy engineering team, we've put that together to be able to create. So what we're looking for is data, and being able to then turn data into insights, and then taking those insights and turning them into action. And if you're able to predict what's going to happen next, you're going to be able to lead. So at GMF Technology, we look at, through innovation, how can we enable rapid impact at continent scale. And Mauritius is a fantastic place to start with when we're going into Africa. And so that's our main focus, how we can build. We look at building, we look at energy, and we look at technology and the nexus between them.
Yeah. So the title of our program today is about innovation in Africa and how we accelerate that. And also with a focus in Mauritius on the blue economy. There's been a lot of talk on the blue economy. Dr. Marie, if you could just tell us a bit more about the blue economy and what it's all about.
Yes, thank you. So to start with, when we talk about blue economy, have to know that previously the term that was used was ocean economy. So what is the difference between ocean economy and blue economy? Ocean economy is just economy from the sea. Blue economy is sustainable economy from the sea. So the blue part means the sustainability. That is, how are you going to develop the resources from the ocean, but then make it sustainable in the long run. That is, you are not going to jeopardize whatever you're doing now. That is, the future generation might be able to do the same thing that you're doing and explore and use the goods and services provided by the marine ecosystem. For example, we have got algae in the sea. So if you want to produce whatever from algae, you have to do it in a way that you have to have a stock assessment of the algae that you have. So when you're using it, you're not depleting it completely so that other generation after you can't use it. So you have to make sure that whatever you're using now to make any type of development from this algae, then the next generation can do the same thing as you. Don't deplete all of them. Even the fish that we are fishing now, which are putting in our plate, we have to ascertain that whether the amount of fish that you are fishing from the sea, the next generation will be able to fish the same amount of fish or more, but then without depleting the stock. How do you go about this? You have to make a stock assessment. You have to look at the life cycle of the fish and then be able to know what is the amount of fish you can catch per month, per day, per year, so that you don't deplete the whole stock. This goes the same for example, you want to invest in conversion of wave energy into electrical energy. You have to know what you're doing. If you place one equipment at sea which is going to destroy the environment because the way that it is capturing is affecting other part of the sea, of the seashore or the seabed, then you could not do it. And then you have to stick to this, what we call as precautionary measures, precautionary principle, which has been going several years before. That is, if you don't have enough data to develop something, you have to go and find the data, and then you develop. It's not an excuse to develop because you don't have enough data. You say, yes, let me develop it, and then you see problem. So it's better for you to go and do the research, find out what it's all about before you start something. This is why it is important to do lots of research. And my friend is talking about forecasting and modeling, which is very important now. Lots of model now that what we are doing is to try to find out what will happen before you do something. For example, if you want to install a jetty on the seashore going to the sea, I will have to develop a model to see what the jetty will do in terms of hindrance of sea currents, wave movements, water movement, water mass movement around the jetty. If this is causing some other important issues on the other environment that is next to this jetty, so we have to try to model this to know what will happen. We have a lot of ecological modeling now happening to know how our ecosystem will behave in the face of a changing climate, temperature, extreme of temperature, sea level rise. So how this will be affected, and if you want to have some development on the coast, we have to know what will happen also to these developments.
With everything you've said there, which is really interesting, the sum of everything you've said and what you do at MOI, I think we've now got a title for it, Blue Economy. I wonder if you can explain to us what is the definition of blue economy.
In fact, as I've been trying to explain at the beginning in simple terms, blue economy is the development of the ocean economy, whatever resources from the ocean, but then this has to be done in a sustainable manner. How do you do that? So, for example, I was talking about the fish. You have to know the stock. You have to know the life cycle of the fish. If you want to do whatever, for example, we are working on the sponges. I just can't go to the sea and take I've got chemicals from the sponges which can be developed into drugs. I can't take all the sponges and come out and say, I have to know that the amount of sponge, I can't take all of them. One way is to, you have one important molecules from the sponge which is very active against cancer, for example. I will try to synthesize these molecules. I won't take all the sponges out. This is the way to do it. And then I think that, as I've been mentioning again, we have to apply the precautionary principles. If you don't know what the amount of sponge that you have in the sea, you can't just go that because I've seen this amount, I take all of them out, I have my molecules, and then whatever happened. No. Yeah. You have to be very careful.
Thank you. Well, moving on, money, investments and economy. what do you look for in an economy to be able to invest in? So if we're unlocking the blue economy, what would you, Mbai, look for?
Thank you for the question, Afzaal. As a finance professional, when it comes to investing in an asset class, in a project, you always want to look at that coupled risk and return. This is the finance orthodoxy. How can I be able to make sure that when I invest, I get a return compared to the budget of risk that you allocate to that analysis? But the previous years, I've seen the development of a third vertical as to strengthening this analysis. And that third vertical is the impact in terms of sustainability, the word that I like, because we have seen so many times where finance was putting pressure on economy and economy was putting pressure on man, whereas it was supposed to be the other way around. Finance should be a tool used by economy, then economy should be at the service of the manhood. And this is where the sustainability is very critical in the analysis. So this is a third vertical that you need to take into consideration when you start your investment process.
Sorry, but Charlie, I think we could link up. I know at Sustainaverse you have a model called 4 Ps. You probably could outline this a little bit more, because I think this links up with the sustainability concept that both Dr. Marie and Mbai have been talking about.
Sure. So we think about innovation in balance with nature, and we, underlying that, have a philosophy that we call 4 Ps. So planet, people, property, and profit. Profit is included, but it comes last, so that any innovation that's being implemented needs to consider all of those parameters. So that's impact at its heart. So the environment, planet, people, the social aspect, property, that can be intellectual property as well as physical property, and then finally profit. So we recognize all of those parameters and recognize the complexity of that. This is a complex decision-making process that requires advanced tools. We talked about modeling, we talked about AI, and Sustainaverse provides an aspect of that by providing advanced visualization data using gaming engines to allow people in a simple visual way to understand a very complex concept. For example, an implementation in the blue economy where we want to avoid unintended consequences. We want to avoid damage, as we've heard already.
Right. So the 4 Ps are people,
planet, people, property, profit.
We the three of them we hear quite often, but property is the one that normally is, we don't hear in the same sentence. Can you just tell us a bit more why you include property in one of those Ps?
So, well, clearly, physical property is important. So, place, buildings, those kind of things, but also intellectual property. So it's part of the impact is in property, and part of the value of what's being created is in property, both physical and intellectual property. So ideas have value, and they should belong to the place that creates them, and that value should be captured. So, for example, in Mauritius, implementation of its intellectual property, for example, from MOI, should benefit Mauritius because they're your ideas. So that capturing of the value around property is very important part of the total consideration, so that it's not an extractive process that's taking people's property away from them.
I think what you said there with 4 Ps is quite impressive as a framework. I think one of the outputs from the property P is essentially what I look for is in the product. So once you've got innovation and you put some IP on that and you've protected that, it's sovereign to the country and its people. The product, it could be used practically in everyday life, and then commercialized for you to drive the profit and the revenues. would be interesting. We recently all went to Madagascar and had a great time there, but we came across a project on preserving the Belbau trees. And speaking to a leading botanist there, he said, "Well, what's the significance of the trees to society?" He said, "Well, we can generate 300 products." Products across cosmetics, big pharma, and all sorts. And what would be interesting from a blue economy would be the products that come as a result of the innovation. I was wondering if you guys could share with us essentially the practical uses and products that can come out of the sea. Coming from Scotland, you probably have an established blue economy.
Yeah.
Can you give us some insights of what products work there and how that could apply here?
Sure, and I'll pass it over when I finish. Also,
Yes.
Two areas in particular are very current. I've spent my career in biotechnology, so that's taking biology to make new products. So bio-based products which are more sustainable, replacing fossil fuel-based products. So, for example, I've worked in a company developing packaging based in seaweed. So to make an sustainable alternative to plastic.
Using seaweed as packaging.
Using seaweed as packaging. Also worked on solutions to replace fish. So fish oil in particular, it's important for feed and food. And if you can replace fish oil with algae oil, you have a sustainable solution that reduces the damage from fishing. And then obviously aquaculture, so that's the cultivation of marine species in the ocean, is a huge opportunity both for fish production, but also shellfish production and also algae production, both seaweed, macroalgae, and microalgae, so microscopic plankton that can be grown in photobioreactors. So all of these can produce products right across our needs, from materials through to through food, right through to pharmaceuticals, as already been mentioned.
Yeah.
And I think there's some great opportunities in Mauritius at MOI in the work you've been doing with the local biodiversity.
Yes, just one thing to elaborate on that. You know what happened is that over the years we have been able to construct a library of sponges around Mauritius. So people may think that we have sponges elsewhere, but same species of sponges in two different places can produce different type of compounds, because the compound that they produce depend where they live, depending on the environment, depending on the threat that they have to face in their everyday life. So this is important to know. Even that maybe in Scotland they are working in one species of sponge and I've got one compound which is not interesting. Maybe the sponge here is producing one compound which is very interesting. So it's important to work on whatever sponge that we have here in Mauritius. This is one thing. In the world we have around 15,000 sponge species. In Mauritius we have got 100 of them here.
Wow, impressive.
And on the 50 sponges that we have been working, most of them are showing one activity against one cancer cell lines. That is killing the cancer cell lines to 70% or more. And we have been able to show that one sponge is producing one type of compound which is new, which has some impact on one enzyme in the mechanism of diabetes, and one in Alzheimer. So this is the few things that we have been able to do here in our lab. There are so many bioassays that we can test all these compounds. We have not done that because we don't have this amount of funds to do that, because one bioassay might cost around 100,000 rupees. So if we were able to do on 100 bioassays, we would have had much more results to show.
Mm-hmm.
So the molecules are here, and biologists know if you have different molecules, it means that you have different number of genes here, and those working with genes, you can do much more things with those genes. You can create more different type of bio pathways to create other molecules. So the biodiversity is here. When we talk about chemical biodiversity, we are talking also about genetic biodiversity, which is important. And now we are talking about microalgae. No one has done an inventory of what we have in terms of microalgae in our waters. We talk about spirulina, but there's not only spirulina. There might be some new microalgae in our water which is much more better than spirulina, but no one has done that.
Dr. Daniel Marie, this is very interesting. in the last couple of months, especially with the budget, there's been a lot of talks in Mauritius about developing the blue economy as a source of being a next economic pillar.
Yes.
Why is the government talking about the blue economy now? And is there any link with the Chagos deals?
In fact, the blue economy has been the talk about since 2013 or 2012, if I'm not mistaken. And our first roadmap came out in 2013 under the same government, that is this new government. And in this roadmap, they define 7 sectors, which could be the sectors that can be developed. And one of them was marine biotechnology. And then you have got aquaculture. You have got seabed mining, minerals. You have got also tourism, marine ICT. All this was in the roadmap. So it is not only now that we were talking about it. It was since that time.
Okay. Yeah. But so compared to 2013,
yes,
13 years later.
Yeah.
So what's different now, and why can we believe that we can now build this into another pillar of the economy?
I think that after so much time, there had been few things has been done, and I think that now we are more like, I will not say mature, but then the thing is that if you look around, everybody's talking about blue economy. We have got AUC has got their roadmap for AUC. I think it is 2063. Mm-hmm. And then there's the COI countries has got another one called PAREP, something like that. So all the countries in the Indian Ocean are now looking at this. Seychelles have got their blue economy research institutions.
The blue bond, yes, they launched the blue bond.
So
as well.
Everybody's talking about it. I think that with this current that has been starting since 2013 or 2012, we are seeing that everybody is heading toward this. South Africa, and with the economy which is now growing, people realize that we have got 2.3 million square kilometers of sea, plus around 400,000 square kilometers of seabed commanded to Seychelles. We have all this sea, and why can't we develop? Even if we develop 2-3 pillars, I think that we will be able to create enough wealth for the future generation, for the ongoing generation.
Really impressive. And I'm wondering, there's been a lot of talk, but what has been the challenges or the blockers for it to turn from, talk to product? Yeah. And also, if you can help answer that, but also Mbai, again, we're exploring what triggers would you look for where okay, now it's investable. Because I feel it's not yet investable. It's still it's still in the lab. It's not on the shelves.
Yeah.
Yes, of course.
If I talk in terms of biotechnology, I will talk with a sector with which I've been dealing a lot for quite a number of years. I believe that we have been doing a lot horizontally, but then to move to the drug, to be able to get one molecule which can be a drug lead, we are not able to go so because first of all we lack expertise, because to develop one molecule that we have been already isolated to make it become a drug, there's a lot of process, a lot of clinical trials which we can't do. Secondly, we don't have enough technology. I've been mentioning when we were visiting the lab. If you want to develop the drug, we need to have several testing, chemical and biological, which we can't do here. And we need to have a pharmaceutical company or institution abroad. We can some kind of cluster together. Then we can move ahead. This is for the blue biotech, because the will is here. We have been working on this for 20 years. But then you can't move ahead. We can go on screening lots of molecules again, lots of organisms. But then to get the molecules to go up, we can't.
I mean, what you've talked about is great in terms of it's you could probably present a fantastic research paper and a promise. Yeah. But a question to you, Mbai. We've got a PowerPoint presentation here. Mm-hmm. We're showing you this is what we need. Mm-hmm. At what point could you think investors would be interested? At PowerPoint presentation, or do we need to actually develop a prototype to show you that it can work? or finished product? At what level do you think funding can come in?
I believe that from the moment that blue economy or whichever products coming out of that particular field will come on the market, and from the moment that finance professional will be able to capture the dynamics of that product's growth, from the moment it is capturable through a model, a financial model, that's when the capital will come in.
Okay.
Until that point, and if the product remain at the proof of concept stage, and we don't know how we can modelize the development of this industry, investor will prefer to keep their cash and wait. It is less risky unless you have funds with GPs who have the appetite and can sense the booming development of this particular field. It was true with the green economy before the blue economy. The development of the green economy took a certain time before the cash came in, so there is always a lag before the capital comes in. Because it's one thing to invest, but it's another to be sure or to be able to say until what level of percentage of confidence, even if you're not 100% sure, you have to provide, let's say, a range, 60, 70, 80% of chance that I will get my money back. And you won't be able to give that numbers unless you don't master the field of blue economy. So it takes a bit of time, I believe.
Yeah, probably, Charlie, you could share some of your experience, let's say from the UK, on how Mauritius could make that leap from research to actual development and starting generating revenue and creating some economic activity out of the blue economy.
I have started 3 companies now, and I've raised money from venture capital as well as from high net worth individuals, in the blue economy space. So it is tough when you have early stage research. You have great ideas. You have a great biodiversity and chemical diversity resource, but you need to be very focused on connecting it to the market and going through the development steps that provide the validation that an investor needs. And clearly, the further you go on that journey, the more value you are adding, and also the more investable your proposition comes. And when you're very early, certain investors have appetite for that high risk, the venture capitalist and so on. And then later you're getting more into conventional investment funds. So it is a journey. It's about thinking about the steps that you need and being very disciplined about working through the research and development and market validation. So really quite common sense, but a disciplined process that takes you from an idea in the lab to a product that people want to buy. And you also have to consider, of course, impact now. So people also will invest for impact, as we've already said. So considering your impact story as part of your overall vision is very important, and validating that so that you have a great impact that's verifiable, that you have assurance that the investment will deliver what you say it will. So it's a complex process that must go through those steps to be fully investable.
Dr. Marie, we're having a running workshop on Wednesday where we actually want to talk about this, how we can make it a reality in Mauritius. But from your experience, do you think that Mauritius is well positioned and we have the resources that we need to go further in that process in terms of commercializing blue economy products?
Yes, and as I mentioned in the beginning, that if you want to be in competition with the other countries, first thing that you have to have things that they don't have there. If you want to compete, for example, with Europe on pharmaceuticals, you're not going to take something that they have and then try to compete with them. We have to have all the technology they can go faster than you. We have a genetic diversity, biodiversity, that some of them are only new to the country, and they are not endemic, but the molecules might be endemic to the country. So I think that we can capitalize on this one. We're talking about the microalgae, we're talking about the sponges, we're talking about even the algae, We want to go for pharmaceutical, non-nutraceutical or cosmetic from algae. No one has yet done this. So why not trying to exploit this? So we have this biodiversity which can be exploited, but we need people who know already what is the value of those resources. Then they can tell you that we can develop this, we can develop that. We have done it for sponges, not yet for algae and microalgae.
So sponges, algae, microalgae, is the next step really finance, or is it promotion of this project so that there's greater awareness of this project so that we can get finance?
I think that we have to create the awareness around this. Like we have been working on the sponges for 20 years, and we wanted to launch one EOI to get some industry or pharmaceutical industry or institution to work with us. This has not yet been done, but this is the way that we would like to adopt in the coming months. That is to let people around the world know that we have got some kind of good results which can be further exploited and explored for the development of new products. We have been talking about fish oil. There's one company doing fish oil here in Mauritius. So there's other byproducts that we can get from fish, which we're not looking into that. There's a new project which the MOI is going to start by next month. That is from fish waste to bioenergy. Something that we want to do. In the past, we have been trying to develop a prototype where we can extract wave energy into electrical energy. It's a prototype. We would like to upgrade it, but again, you need some energy to work with this. But we have been doing it. So I think that there are several things that we have been able to do to prove that things can be done, can be developed. But then we need certain kind of more expertise and technological know-how for us to move things forward and get the product. But we need some kind of collaboration, because we won't be able to do everything alone. We need some collaboration at some point in time so that we can move the things ahead.
I think Mauritius has kind of said it out there that we're going to be a leader in blue economy, but the way you're saying things, it's like we're still got a long way to go to actually lead, and so I want to be able to provide at GMF. We're looking at how we can provide a boost. How we can amplify the existing intelligence to at rapid pace, so that we can, not go back on our promise saying we're going to lead, but to demonstrate we can. You've had MOI's got over decades of ocean data.
Yes.
And lots of PhD students from the universities that come up with data, and sometimes they're not used. And that happens everywhere, I guess, in every university.
Yeah.
And there's hidden gems in there. It's like an Aladdin's cave of economy within that. It's exploring how to be able to unlock it. I wanted to highlight that right now the potential is here. The timing is right, because with technologies like deep tech technologies like artificial intelligence and machine learning, digital ledger technology like blockchain, autonomous world technologies like Sustainiverse, this can really boost intelligence. And if you're traditionally generating data, suddenly this can change, because something like AI can crunch the numbers and the stats so quick that you'll be able to predict what will happen next. You'll be able to then innovate and create a product with a financial model and a business plan very quickly to demonstrate to investors there is a promise here. Being able to take it to that far. I think. Do you feel there's space to bring technology into your world to make that happen?
Yeah, in fact, it is whatever you're saying has great value. In the recent past, we were working on the production of an app, a mobile app. The mobile app was supposed to be produced and delivered to fishers, where the app will tell them where the fish are. And this is using AI again. So you are going to put together sea surface temperature together with chlorophyll A, which is primary productivity, and then couple this together, you have a GIS map. On the map, when this comes together, we can know where you have high level of primary productivity. And then if you have high level of primary productivity, this means that you have a lot of fish coming in that section. Now India is working in the same, they have been working in this for years. They're putting other dimension in that. They are putting oxygen concentration, they are putting turbidity, because they know that fish like tuna, they will swim whenever there's a high level of oxygen, but there's less turbidity, and there's a lot of primary productivity. So the more they put parameters on the chart, the more they know where you have potential fishing zone. And this is what the app was about to be. You know. That is, this will lower your carbon footprint, but you will just take your boat and go directly to the potential fishing zone. You don't have to go, trying to find where the fish are. At the same time, you save time.
A question to both Dr. Daniel Marie and to Charlie. So if we are talking to bankers and investors, these all look like very interesting projects.
Yeah.
But if we're talking to bankers and investors who have never invested in the blue economy, and this is an emerging sector in Mauritius still, I believe. So how can we all collaborate to ensure that we get more money invested in the blue economy and to ensure that we have bankable projects, but then also commercial products? Question to both of you.
I'll go first. So I think we've talked about some lots of ideas for projects, some really identifiable in aquaculture and in biotechnology, which can be going into multiple fields, including food and nutrition and cosmetics. And so there's an identifiable path to market there. And I think what would be a great next step is to have a couple of flagship projects that really take that forward. So through collaboration, using tools like AI that allow us to accelerate the knowledge that Mauritius has already generated, accelerate that to market, and be a flagship for the industry. And once you have that, it will attract more investment. Success breeds more investment, and that creates more opportunities for other applications, because there's many ideas being talked about just now.
Yeah, I will talk about biotechnology, but then for aquaculture, I don't know whether you are aware that we have an aquaculture master plan, where MOI has already characterized those sites. That is the sites where has been already earmarked for aquaculture. We have gone there and we have mapped those areas with the different bathymetry, current mapping, that is the speed of the current and the direction of the currents, and then the benthic mapping, what do we have underneath, so that investors can take advantage of this and they know what they can grow in those areas. And this is on our website. But what we can do further is that if they're interested to come and do whatever type of investment in aquaculture, we are here to assist them in doing the mesh survey to characterize other sites. This is our role, in fact, we are doing that to facilitate investors for them to come and invest in aquaculture, because we have got lots of sites, mostly off-reef. Some of the lagoons, we have them, and then we have off-reef also, but we are here, the MOI is here to assist, because we have got an array of equipment which can be used to define a mass of water, given mass of water, in terms of chemical, biological, and physical parameters.
There's one item that you discussed when we visited you earlier today, which was the carbon capture of the seabed grass.
Seagrass bed.
Yes.
Yes.
Can you tell us a bit more about this?
In fact, as you are aware now, this is what we call blue carbon. There's and then we are talking about blue finance. So there's a possibility that we can tap into that, but then we are trying to prove that our seagrass is capturing a lot of carbon. And one way of doing that is try to see the amount of carbon being captured by 1 centimeter square of the seagrass, and then we can extrapolate. And other thing is that we know that on the Sand Mala Bank, which is one of the banks where we have part of it belong to Mauritius in our EEZ, and there's a huge seabed of seagrass, seagrass bed. So I think that we have this opportunity to tap into the blue finance. If we have the mechanism in place, we can show that we are capturing a lot of carbon, and this can be something that we can get some finance which can be invested into the blue economy development, because we need funds to develop the blue economy, and it is important to.
Just following on that, I've had some experience working with seagrass on the Isle of Man.
Okay.
And they had an ambition to turn the whole island into a carbon sink based on its seagrass in the coastal areas. But because of the weather destroying the seagrass meadows, and the quality of the seagrass wasn't as powerful, versus Mauritius, where the seagrass potential, speaking to some of the NGOs here, it's potentially 35 times better than planting trees as a carbon sink. And because of because of the clarity of the sea, the water, the sunlight comes through, and that can grow quite well. I think carbon, it may be a product that happens naturally in terms of if we're able to demonstrate it being a carbon sink and this carbon sequestration as a result of the seagrass meadows. And you can create carbon removal credits, or even biodiversity credits as a case.
Yeah, now
then you've got a product, right? Then you have a product.
Yeah.
And a question I've moved to you is whether or not, if we create a product out of the carbon, is that investable in your eyes?
Of course it is. As a matter of fact.
Oh, I can see his eyes light up there.
I just learned about the term here. Thank you, Doctor. The blue finance, which I didn't know, which means that you start to have an asset class. On blue economy. So it is blue finance, and the value is derived from the dioxide of carbon that
which is being absorbed by the seagrass.
By the seagrass. So you see, from that moment, you can quantify an amount of a product that is tradable on the market.
Yes, it is. Yes.
Hence, on the financial market. So we are in the position now to trade, to derive the value and derive a potential growth of that value over time. So we can create a product that will replicate the dynamics of this development of the products. But for me, up to tonight, I thought that all carbon economics were captured by the green economy. Yeah. Well, I just learned that now we have blue finance, and I'm really happy to.
But what we have to know also, we have got the green economy, the definition at some point in time, and then from that the seeds started looking at why we are talking about the green economy, because we have got the land mass which is very small compared to our sea volume. Then we started to talk about the blue economy. So somehow we derive the blue from the green.
Definitely. Definitely.
I mean, there's also potential with carbon. I'll share some insight I have with the carbon, with algae and seaweed. Because seaweed is a natural carbon lock. Okay. It's kept in its cellulose, and it washes up on the shore and dries up. And then hotels will collect it, either bury it or burn it. And then the carbon's released again. Right?
Yeah.
But being able to turn the seaweed into a fiber and then lock it away for 50 years, 100 years, could generate a carbon credit as a result of that. Yeah. Do you think that's fictitious, or do you think that's possible?
There's been a lot of focus on blue carbon from seaweed, from macroalgae, particularly from cultivation, and a lot of the use cases, however, have an end of life where it is consumed, so the carbon becomes circular. So it's still not a bad thing, but it doesn't have a credit because it's circular. However, if you apply it, as you say, where you lock that away by incorporating it into some kind of permanent store, like a building material, which people are considering, then you would have a credit because it's locked away, and that's verifiable, and you provide that data that the market requires, that this is a sequestration, not just a circular story. Yeah. So circularity is not bad, circular economy is good, but we need to have carbon sinks, and it certainly is one of the opportunities.
Charlie, you have experience of using extract of algae to create wellness products. Can you tell us more about that, and then how we could adopt the same approach in Mauritius?
Absolutely. So I did start out in pharmaceutical research, so I won't talk about that. We've heard a lot about that. But it moved me also into the nutraceutical, so that's products which have a health benefit that are consumed like a food, so supplements typically, things like fish oil. And then also cosmeceuticals, so natural products which are active that you apply to your skin, for example, skincare. So, and this is a very dynamic market where both nutraceutical and cosmeceutical, where people, particularly in Western economies, are looking for healthy solutions that are natural, because the products they've had in the past are so unnatural and so unhealthy. So they're looking for natural, healthy alternatives. And there's great enthusiasm for things from the ocean. People see that as a particularly attractive solution, and you see a lot of cosmetics out there that come from the ocean. Creme de la mer, which is one of the most expensive, there's a real opportunity which are quicker to market in cosmetics, and then in nutrition again. We realize more and more that we need to eat the right things, and sometimes we need to take supplements. So we know about vitamins, but we now also need omega-3 fish oils or algae oils, fiber products for gut health, which influence many things. So there's lots of opportunities with the unique biodiversity here, the unique biomass that grows in the ocean, to fulfill niches in all of these markets. And that's something that becomes financeable because there's an identifiable market which you can put a value on, and we can identify the product value straight away. So it's a really exciting opportunity to take your knowledge and your know-how and all your data and convert that into an economic opportunity, but in balance with nature in a way that's sustainable.
And I wanted to layer on to that. And this is directed at Mbai again with investments. I'm going to get you to put some money into these ideas.
Go ahead.
He has a couple of millions hiding in his
pocket. Right, I can see the briefcase.
Dollars.
It depends on which currency.
I think the uniqueness of Mauritius being a luxury destination, it lends itself for a luxury brand for a product. If we created a cosmetics and it says, a luxury, algae shampoo or something, but a luxury algae shampoo made in Mauritius, I'm assuming that we can put a premium on that product versus if it was some other places in Africa or Asia.
Sure.
Do you think that's feasible?
Yes, of course, and you explained it very, very clearly. Value of a product is derived from the perception of the public to which it is addressed. So, of course, if you put a premium destination on the product on the product itself, of course, the value is automatically derived from that product just by putting the brand on it. It is a brand.
Yeah.
I mean,
Mauritius is a brand.
Is a brand, right? Which is marketable and hence quantifiable.
Yeah, and I would say that combined with strong scientific validation, which
of course,
Dr. Murray's Institute provides, is a perfect combination. So
Definitely.
you can believe in the product and it's got a premium persona.
We're going into the last part of our program
maybe I will
today.
add
Yes,
something
Dr.
about,
Daniel Murray, go ahead.
Yes, Charlie has been mentioning about the products that can be turned into cosmeceuticals. There's one shop selling lots of shampoos and all these cosmetics, and you will be amazed to see that on those bottles, the name of those, you have those algae that they have been using to prepare it, and we have got those algae here.
Mm-hmm.
If
There
you
you
walk
go.
down the coastline, you can see those algae.
This is what I was going
So
to
we
say.
have it. We have all them here.
Yeah, collected on the beaches of Mauritius.
Yes, and these
I can see it now.
And those cosmetics come from Italy
Oh, okay. There
and
you
selling
go.
here in Mauritius.
So listening to what you are all saying, it appears that there is the research,
The
there is the
potential is,
knowledge,
Yeah.
there is the data,
Yeah.
and there is the natural resource to develop this economy. And Charlie has also spoken about how this has been done before. So we really need to understand, for people who want to invest, let's put it differently. So let's say we have bankers or investors who have $5 million, and you had to tell them, so which would be the priority project for these $5 million to go to, which could actually generate a profit for them within the short, medium term. Where would you be investing those $5 million?
If I have to talk about biotech, not about agriculture, I would say we have to start with cosmeceuticals, nutraceuticals, cosmetics, and then pharmaceuticals, because I know that it will take much more time and
Good strategy.
lots of money. But then we can just do something which is very easy to develop and go faster. And
There
this
you
will
have
lead
it.
by example. People will know that we have something new here and in Mauritius.
Yeah. That's amazing. That saying that Mauritius could birth a cosmetic industry,
Yeah.
and naturally that is quite amazing.
So you talked about the unique this unique species of sponges that we have in Mauritius or in the oceans around Mauritius. How can we take that to the next stage in terms
Next
of
stage is
commercialization?
yeah, as I've been mentioning, we have done few tests depending on our fence. We need to do more than, we have to be doing around 10 to 11 tests, bioassays. We need to do more than this. According to what I gather, we need to do around 100 bioassays. Then this becomes sort of attractive library of compounds and drugs and chemicals. And also when we do that, we have to do some more analysis in terms of isolation of new compounds from different extracts. And again, this we need. If we want to go as we have been doing, this will take much more time. But if we want to go faster, we need to have someone we can have high throughput screening, and we will go very fast with that and get new molecules again, and then have other industries which can.
So how much money is needed to accelerate that?
I can't tell you a figure right now, but a lot of money, because already we have been investing a lot in that.
Are we talking 1 million, 10 million, 100 million? Sorry if I may ask, because I know the finance guy will be looking for a figure.
Yeah, but then again, it depends. If we want to buy equipment and then do it ourselves, it will be a huge amount of money. Like for example, one animal is costing around 25-30 million rupees. One animal equipment. Now if you have to buy mass spectrometers, you have 100 million or more rupees will be like for the equipment only. But then if you want to do with one other company, instead of we buying the equipment and do the tests, if you have one company coming in around 100 million or 200 million rupees just to do the testing and get some results which can be used afterwards by other industries. Because as you might be aware that not all industry will do the same test. You have to maybe send your extract to different industries for different type of tests. And this is what will cost a lot, first of all. And then the clinical trials also will come afterwards. This is why I'm saying that instead of start with this, we better start with the cosmetics first and do something which is easy, like food, feed, cosmetics, and then we can move to pharmaceuticals.
But Charlie, if let's say we manage to get that money and we spend that money, how does Mauritius protect the IP over this asset that it's developing?
So you have a lot of know-how, some of that secret, so trade secrets obviously is the simplest mechanism, but definitely you will be filing patents, so product patents.
Have to file patents.
So that's and going for global protection. I think another important aspect of this, there's an opportunity not just for commercialization of Mauritius's biodiversity, but also to think regionally, and for this to become a base or a regional powerhouse in this kind of development, so that you're taking the blue economy and becoming a hub that provides that solution to the region, because we're talking about innovation in Africa. And I think that's really where there's expertise here, there's some finance available here. There's a real opportunity for this to become a hub that enables that from other regions. So maybe we don't have to produce all the algae here, we can take biomass from other countries as well, to help their economies and create greater value overall. So I think that's an important aspect, that this could become a real base for the region.
And following on that, I think I'm a big believer in what I call indigenizing your technology, because all too often there's a big bias towards the big players in technology. And we might have the raw materials and the data, but we too easily give it away. Can you help us and refine it? And they turn it into a product and sell it, and we don't get the royalties. So the idea of bringing it home means possibly how do we get the technology into the country? And that might be existing cosmetic companies that have the finance and the will to actually come into the UK, set up their manufacturing plants here under a blue economy license that's protected. So they develop their product here and then probably go out for investment to further it.
In fact, this is what we wanted to do for the pharmaceuticals. But again, we did not manage to launch the EY. But again, if we start with the cosmetic, we get funds, then we can use these funds to develop the industry with partners from abroad. Because if you have some funds, maybe this will be attractive for people to come. If you want to put only your data and everything, maybe they are not interested that much.
And I think Mauritius is such a lovely place to live. I can imagine people saying, I'm going to move over.
Yes. You know, in 2001, we did a workshop on biodiversity. We invited around 15 experts from abroad. They come free. That is, they did for us free analyzing the taxonomy of the different species of algae, of fish and everything for free. Most of them were retired person, taxonomists from Wales, from wherever. They come to Mauritius and they did it for free. Why? Because it is Mauritius. They are, as you have been saying, it is lovely to work here. We paid only the stay, but they did everything free. It wasn't even a consultancy. After we get the proceedings, we have got the identification around 15 groups of organisms in Rodrigues. What is Rodrigues? For free, they have been doing that.
Right. We're just coming to the last minutes, so if we could each go say some final words. But what I get from this discussion is it appears that there are definite opportunities to develop the blue economy in Mauritius. And a lot of it is to do about getting people together and then finding the investors and finding the right partners internationally. So if we're talking to, say, the young people or the young entrepreneurs that want to engage in that sector and want to either do a career or spend their energy developing new companies within the blue economy, what would you be your message to them?
I think that, we have the opportunities here. I'll give you one example. We have been trying to find a sponge only around Mauritius because we don't have the facilities to go around. We have been around Rodrigues for some time, Agalega, Saint-Brandon. Now we have got Chigas. All the seas might have new sponge specimen there, new algae, new microalgae. We have not yet touched this. We have not yet done an inventory of what we have in all this EEZ. So the opportunity is here.
So this is kind of making a list of all the assets that we own.
That we have, and then you decide with the AI
what
AI, you can do with all these, because they are here, and we have not yet done the inventory. We have just proposed one project where we're going to have a sort of inventory of all the resources in our EEZ. We are waiting to get the fund, but this is something that we are going to do. But we will not be able to develop all these resources. The generation which is coming, they will be the one doing that, because once you get the list, you can do whatever you would like to do with all these organisms.
Afzaal, from what you've heard, what do you think should be the next steps for the people and also for the country?
For myself, I would rush at, from a government point of view, licensing blue economy, so that those wanting to invest in, keep the technology and the data here, and making sure that you're building your asset class. And then I think the second would be looking how to shape expertise into entrepreneurship, because often you get PhD students who are not that entrepreneurial, but then you've got people who are Mauritians are very entrepreneurial, either combining an expert and an entrepreneur or shaping an expert into an entrepreneur, to be bold enough to say, I've developed a product or I've got an idea of a product, and being able to attract worldwide investments coming in, because you could talk about a product, but it takes a team a bold team to develop that product. People like Charlie to actually be entrepreneurial, to actually go forward. So you've got that level of education for young people to say, yeah, I'm going to do this for my country, and be able to be that entrepreneurship. So I think the blue entrepreneur may arise from this place.
Charlie, what would you say we need to do to promote the blue economy?
So I would focus, for young people, I think it's a fantastic opportunity and a fantastic opportunity to have an amazing career based here. And I would focus on the problems we're facing. So innovation for impact. So thinking about climate change and thinking about more sustainable production systems, because that's the way we need to move. That's the way that the next 100 years needs to move. We won't have oil anymore. We'll be making things in different ways. We need to feed a lot of people. We need to keep people healthy. So real problem-focused thinking. And then I say, if you're passionate about that and want to take an opportunity, then do your research. And I mean market research as well as technical research. So really go out there and find how products are made and how you get products to market or solutions to market. And that is the most important bit, to really develop strong business cases based on science, but also based on a strong economic business plan.
Dr. Daniel Marie from the MOI, thank you very much for sharing your wise words with us.
Pleasure.
Afzaal Mauthour from GMF Technology, and Charlie Bavington from St Andrews Innovation, Darcy Thompson and Sustainaverse. Thank you very much for sharing those very wise words on how we can develop the blue economy. So if you're listening to us or watching us, please watch our updates on our website. We will be organizing a live session with this forum in a couple of weeks' time, where you'll be able to interact with them and ask your question. Thank you very much, everyone, and thank you